Hi, Chef AJ. Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be part of the 2024 bundle, the Vegan Health Bundle. Last year, I was part of the bundle for the very first time, and not only did I learn so much from everyone who was part of the bundle, but I made a lot of new friends, and it's an incredible community that Chef AJ has created, and I am just so happy to be here. So today, I'm going to make a dish from my bundle contribution, which is called Around the World with Lisa Rice, 22 Plates from a Plant-Based Planet. And so I thought I'd make something super simple, Gallo Pinto. You're probably familiar with it. It's one of the staples in Costa Rica, which is one of the blue zones where people live to be in their hundreds. It's a bean and rice dish. It's one of the best applications and easiest applications, I think, of using leftover rice and beans. And another reason why it's a good idea to batch cook your rice and beans. But before I start, one of the ways I like to eat my Gallo Pinto, actually my favorite way, is on crispy tortillas. So I take some soft corn tortillas and I put them in the air fryer or the oven. And so I thought I'd get those started to show you how I like to do them. You can just take the corn tortillas, throw them on the rack in the oven at 350, put them in for 10 minutes, flip them, put them in for a few minutes more, and let them cool and they'll be crispy. But I like to season them up a little bit. So I've got my corn tortillas here. And I like to take a half a lime or a lemon and just squeeze, you don't want them too wet, just a little bit of the juice so that you can get your seasonings to stick. I really love onion and garlic powder, but when I was visiting Sacramento for Chef AJ's conference, Local Spicery had a great sale on all their different spice blends. So I'm going to use this bada bing bouillon, the umami flavoring. I think it'll go nicely with the Gallo Pinto, which has ground cumin in it. And so does this. So I'm going to put some of this on my lime covered tortillas. And I've already got my air fryer set for 350. And I'm going to put these in for 12 minutes. And then I'm going to flip them over and put them in for like another 5 or 6 and then shut the air fryer off and let them cool. If you're doing them in the oven, you'll do them at 350. You'll put them on the rack or on a cookie sheet and you'll do them for the same amount of time. But the key to getting them really crispy is to shut the oven or the air fryer off and let them cool in there. So let's get these started. Okay, and now let's get our Gallo Pinto started. All right, so what I've got here is a very small onion and a small red bell pepper. So I'm going to get those started in I've already heated up my pan on the stove here. So we're doing oil-free cooking. You heat the pan first, so I have it on like a medium high. Do you want me to move this over this way? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, a little bit further.
Okay. And we're going to get those started first. And the great thing about vegetables and oil-free cooking is that vegetables have lots of water in them, so you don't need oil. The water from the onions and the peppers is going to help them saute. Oh, it smells so good. And then I always have some vegetable broth or water on the side, so when they do start to stick, you can just splash a little bit in. We're going to get these, we're going to let the onion get, a little bit translucent, and then we're going to add our garlic. So I'm making a small batch, confession. We made a video for this yesterday, and I made a big batch, but then the video didn't turn out. So I'm just going to make a small batch today because we don't want to have too much Gallo Pinto hanging around, although it's great in a burrito. One of my favorite ways to eat it leftover is to roll it up in a sprouted tortilla with some cabbage and some avocado and a little of my cashew queso that's on my website. It's a raw cashew queso, and create burritos with it. Or put any vegetables in it you like. There's nothing like the smell of onions and peppers cooking together. This is so simple. And then the next thing that's going to go in here after the garlic is rice. So it's a rice and bean dish. And what kind of rice? You can use any kind of rice. I've made this with short grain brown rice, short grain white rice. I've made it with basmati rice. But today, where's my container? I have this rice. Oh, here it is. I got this organic blend from the Asian market across the street, and it's a long grain brown rice with a red rice, and it looks like a black wild rice. So I cooked some of that up in my Instapot. That's a nice sort of pinkish color. So I'm going to use that. Again, batch cooking your grains and beans is a good idea. You can even freeze them in portions, so you always have the ingredients to throw something like this together. Nowadays it's so easy. You can open a can of beans, you can buy grains already cooked, frozen, and just defrost them. So I always recommend, if you're someone who's got a very busy schedule and not a lot of time to cook at home, which we know is much better for our health, then go ahead and get those frozen grains that are already cooked. And definitely have your canned beans around. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and add my garlic. So I've got, because I'm only gonna do a can of black beans and a little bit of rice, I've got a small red bell pepper, I've got a small onion, and about 4 cloves of garlic. I like a lot of garlic. And traditionally, I've been to Costa Rica, and they eat this dish for breakfast, they eat it for lunch, they have it for dinner. And I've never seen it with a different bean other than black beans, and black beans are one of my favorites. I'm sure you could do it with another bean, so if you've got some pinto beans pre-cooked or kidney beans, I'm sure it would be delicious. I'm just going to put a little bit of my broth in here because it's starting to stick a little. Oh, it smells so good! I like red bell peppers in here. Yesterday, in the other video I made, I had gotten these peppers from the farmer's market. My husband wanted green pepper, I wanted red pepper, and they actually had these peppers at the farmer's market that had some red, green, and yellow on them. I'm like, oh, everybody's happy. So the batch that I've already got cooked has those peppers, and they have a little bit more of a green flavor than a red flavor. You know, the red is a little bit sweeter. So you can put one, both, however much. And this is great for feeding a crowd. It's very hearty, it's very cost effective. Okay, so now I'm going to put my rice in. So I'm only using today a can of beans. Now here's the thing. Do not throw out your bean water. You're going to use your bean water to help bring this together, the whole dish together. But because I'm only using about a can of beans today, I'm only going to use about that amount of rice, maybe a little bit more. But you know, you can put any proportion of rice and beans you want. This is your dish. And I love fried rice, so I might go a little heavy on the rice today. Oh, it smells so good! And don't worry if it starts sticking to the pan once you put your rice in, because when you put your beans and your bean water in, it's going to deglaze it. So you just want to saute the rice a bit, warm it through. Might get a little crusty on the bottom, that's okay. And I've got on standby my beans and my bean water. And then the key ingredient to Gallo Pinto is this salsa lisano. This is a staple in Costa Rica. They serve it actually on the side with their Gallo Pinto, so you can put a little extra on. You can find it in import markets, probably Aldi, places like that. You can get it online. But have no fear if you can't get it or for some reason you don't want to use it. You can use a vegan Worcestershire sauce. So I've got this Wizards vegan Worcestershire sauce. Annie's makes one. Whole Foods 365 has a brand. So that flavor, it's sort of a little bit of a tangy flavor. And then ground cumin. Those are the main spices in this dish. And then some black pepper. The salsa lisano has some salt in it. And so does the Worcestershire sauce, so you don't need to add salt to this. Okay. Oh, it smells so good. Okay. So this is warmed through. The rice is sticking a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and add my beans. Pretty that is. I love the colors. That's probably part of the reason why I like the red pepper so much, because it just gives it that beautiful burst of color. Okay, now I'm going to add my salsa lisano. So I'm going to put about, I don't know, 2 tablespoons full. You could go easier on it if you're not sure. You can put a tablespoon and then just serve it on the side. I'm going to put in some dry ground cumin. So for this small amount, about half a teaspoon. If I were making a bigger batch, I'd use more. And you can even like mash some of your beans into it. You don't want it to be goopy, but you want it to be a little bit wet. So I'm going to use a little bit of my bean water. And that's just going to sort of help everything stick together. I wish you could smell this. Smell-o-vision. We need smell-o-vision. And I'm going to mash some of the beans down in it. You know, and the beans and rice are already cooked, so you're really just heating it through and cooking it enough to allow the flavors to meld and come together. But this is like the easiest dish in the world. It's so good for you. Okay, now, my tortillas are still cooking, but I did make some yesterday. So I've got a bunch of them here. They come out so good. And these are great. Put them in your purse and bring them to a Mexican restaurant with you, and you can have chips and salsa without having all that fried nastiness. I am going to garnish my gallo pinto with some fresh cilantro. If you don't like cilantro, you can use some parsley. Took out my good knife today. You know those memes, it's like, life is short, use the good china. I'm like, life is short, I'm going to use my good knife. Okay, I'm going to give this one more stir. Oh, so good. Shut off the heat. I'm going to garnish this with some fresh cilantro. You know, and if you like spice, in addition to your bell pepper, you can put in some jalapeno or some serrano. So now, this is how I like to eat it. I like to take an avocado, and this is optional. You can just eat that out of a bowl. Or, you know, a soft tortilla on the side, just warm up a corn tortilla or a flour tortilla. And then I'm going to take a piece of my crispy corn tortilla, which is how I like to have it, with some avocado, a little bit of the gallo pinto. I hope you make this. Please try it and let me know how you like it, and may you live to be 100 or more. So a little bonus video. I have all this leftover gallo pinto, so I want to make a crunch wrap since we made those crunchy tortillas. So I've got this sprouted wheat tortilla, and I am going to put some of our gallo pinto in the center. Can you see that? Here, let me move the paper towel. And I softened it up a little bit in the microwave because otherwise it's going to crack when I try to fold the sides. So we put in a little bit of the gallo pinto in the center. And then I like a little something fresh in my burritos and my crunch wraps. And I always have like a little slaw mix in my fridge. This one has kale, it has cabbage, it has some carrot. I always have some version of this going in my fridge. Okay, and then I like a little avocado in my crunch wrap. Just a cup, whoop, flying avocado. Just a little bit. And then I made some cashew queso, which is on my website. And, oh wait, I'm not gonna put that on yet, hang on. First, we wanna put our crunch part on. So we made these crunchy tortillas earlier in the air fryer. So first I'm going to put that on. So you get that right in the center. Now I'm going to put in my cashew queso that is on my website. I've got a raw version and a cooked version. This is the cooked version. They're very similar. I like a lot of that. And then now we're going to take a soft tortilla, the same size as the crispy corn tortilla. This is a wheat and corn one. You want something kind of soft here. And then we're going to just take the sides of this. Oh wait, first we're going to take the sides of this and we're going to sort of just tuck it around like that. And again, if you soften it up, especially the sprouted tortillas, they can break easily. If you soften it up a little first, it's helpful. And then I'm going to take this plate to keep the folds there. And now, let's move this over here. And I've got my pan heating up here. I've got a cast iron pan. You can use a nonstick pan if you like. And so then you want to take your crunch wrap and seam side down, put it on the pan. And we're going to let that cook for a minute until the folds stick together. Turn up the heat a little bit. And as soon as that's just a few minutes, like 3 minutes or so, and then we're going to flip it over, get the other side crispy, and we're going to cut it in half. Okay, so check it. It looks like it's just about ready to flip. Oh, look at that. You see how good that looks. And then we're going to just let this side cook another 3 or 4 minutes to crisp up. Okay, so let's get this plated. So first we did the seam side, then we did this side. You can see that nice crust on top, and then we're going to cut it in half. Look at that. That's our beautiful Gallo Pinto crunch wrap, and it's got the crunchy tortilla, the soft tortilla. It's got the Gallo Pinto with the rice and beans, a little cabbage slaw, a little avocado, and some of my queso, which is super easy to make. Go to the website, lisaricelifestyle.com. It's the raw and the cooked. You can make the raw version or the cooked version. So that's our bonus video. I hope you enjoy.